welcome back to Trash It. I'm sure you've seen the video, okay, that just played in the beginning of this segment, and we're doing a series on domestic violence because it's lockdown. Everybody's indoors. A lot of domestic violence is happening even more than before. So you've seen that video, which kind of showed a man fighting with his wife, and there was a child there who was doing the recording, and the violence towards the child as well. So welcome again to Trash It. We've got a full house today. We've got your usual host, which is Yori, okay? And then we've got Talia, okay? Talia is a fan of the show. And we've got Nelson. Nelson is also a fan of the show, okay? So for fans out there, if you ever want to come on the show, send us a DM. Let us know if there's anything you want to trash that is really pressing in your mind. If there's a situation that you're going through, send us a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or on our email. Our email address is on our Instagram page as well, and we can we can bring you on the show, especially now with the lockdown. It's all by Zoom, so you can be anywhere in the world and you'll still be a part of the show. So guys, you've seen the video. I'm gonna go to Talia, okay? So Talia, tell me, you've seen this video. Well, how did it make you feel? What do you think about what you saw in the video?
When I tell you that video left me speechless for a few seconds, I was raging in anger because I couldn't quite understand how a man would be so violent towards his wife in front of his kids. I mean, we hear about it, we watch it, we see it on the news, we read about it, but to actually witness it, I felt like I was witnessing it because I was watching this video that this little girl had created of her dad physically abusing her mother, rather. It was quite heart-wrenching, to say the least. It was really, I felt like it was me it was happening to. It felt so personal.
Yeah.
It really felt personal.
All right, thank you. Yori, what do you think?
You
want to kill him, I know.
You know, at the beginning you said something about the man fighting his wife. That's not fighting.
Yeah.
It's a man and a man that can actually fight. That was stomping your wife. And you know, as I'm like 5'1", 5'2", so I can imagine me being that woman's position. He's gonna kill me because I would fight because this guy was the viciousness. He was pounding her head. It felt so, as Talia said, so personal. I felt for those children. As in, you know, at some point, the woman said, she was actually speaking in Yoruba. She was like, that's blood, that's blood. And I'm like, yeah. She said, oh, that's blood. And that guy was still going and he ended up beating the child as well. I'm thinking, what kind of animal are you?
Yeah.
You know, even if someone has provoked you to that level that you think, because this is not a fight. This is proper beat down. This is like Evander Holyfield and
Mike Tyson.
You know, thumping a woman. I felt helpless.
Yeah.
That was all I could see in that video. She was helpless. She felt defeated, and this guy was just going on and on and on and on. And I'm like, seriously?
I mean, you sort of see there was almost a need for her to also protect the child as well, because the man was also went for the child actually. So Nelson, let me come to you. So what do you think? How did you see that?
As everyone else has said, every sane person will say the same thing. That was out of order. It was so wrong. I don't know how that man should still be walking the streets of Lagos or wherever he is. He should be in custody. Really, he should be in custody and then waiting to be charged, because you can do that. You can do that. Why would you do that to a fellow human being? Not to talk of your wife. This is his wife, for goodness sake. They've got kids together, and then he acts like that, beats her up after what he had done. It can be explained. It's ridiculous. It's out of order, and he shouldn't be walking the streets of his city.
Right. Okay. So I mean, we all saw this on the Gist Lover blog on Instagram, right? Because I think the woman reached out to Gist Lover and asked for help, because at this point now she didn't know what else to do. She didn't have where to go, because the man wanted her to leave the property with the children. I think she's got 2 girls. So the man wanted her to leave with the 2 daughters. Apparently the man has a side chick out there who's now pregnant for him. So we don't know if this is because of the sex of her children, or we don't know if it's just because he no longer loves her. But now, Gist Lover wanted the side chick and the man to be outed. I mean, before you knew it, the girl's handle was up, Facebook, Instagram,
I know.
and everybody was trolling this, you know, the man and the woman. So do you think the side chick will be to blame in this scenario? Yori, what do you think?
To be honest, the side chick is very relevant to the stew we're making here, because my vows, and I'm using myself as a point as a case example now. My problem or my vows is with my supposed other half. Okay, so the external factor is irrelevant to the situation here. If he wanted her out of the way, there was no need for all that beating. It was totally. If he's that loaded that can have a side chick, why didn't he move her and then go camp with the side chick? I understand the frustration because people really went for the side chick's jugular. But there are two people, there are three people in this relationship. The side chick is irrelevant, to be honest. There was no need to out the side chick.
Oh,
There was
really?
there was no need. There was no need, because honestly, let's remove the side chick for 2 seconds. This guy is probably a womanizer. He will probably go to another person and another person and another person. There's got nothing to do with the side chick. It's the man's mentality that I can do whatever I want to do, irrespective. It might not even be a side chick. It might be like the food she's cooked is not warm enough.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't think it's the side chick's problem here. The man is a demented human being.
Okay. Talia, what do you think? Okay, sorry, Nelson, you was going to say something.
Yes, I think the side chick needs to be blamed as well. Reason being, she wouldn't say she doesn't know or she didn't know that the man has a wife and kids.
Exactly.
She would know. And then to go ahead after allowing herself to be used to betray his wife and then getting pregnant. That's just pushing the button.
Okay.
So we shouldn't leave her out of it. I'm not saying she should take the most blame. Right. The man should take the most blame.
Yeah.
But she too has a part to play. Okay. Because she allowed herself to be used.
Right. Yori, I can see you're disagreeing. What's going on in that head of yours?
No, I'm a woman and I disagree. So Nelson, let's use it as an example. You've come to me and you've told me you're not in a relationship. You've eaten your ring. I know nothing about you. I go on your social media, it's just you. I've spoken to your family members, you are not married. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no woman at home. So I've met a single guy, invariably. Your vows is to your wife. So I shouldn't be blamed for some stupidity you decided to do and not to you personally. I'm just saying. So that's why I'm not saying the side chick or I'm giving her a whole pass. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know the whole story. And the most important people in this dynamic is the stupid husband and the unfortunate wife.
Talia, okay, Nelson, did you want to say, okay, Talia, let's hear from you for a minute. Nelson, hold that thought.
You know what, personally, in terms of domestic violence, because that's what we're talking about, honestly speaking, I can't blame the side chick. I would blame the side chick if, you know, she knew that the man was married and she went for it still. But in terms of beating up his wife, you know, that's on him and him alone. I do think that, the side chick was outed. Yeah, she deserves it. I mean, who sleeps with another woman's husband? So she deserves that. But in terms of beating up his wife, that's on him. He decided to beat up his wife. Yeah, he had fun outside and couldn't separate the two, clearly. And this is the issue here. He had too much fun and decided that he would take out his animalistic behavior on his wife. So that's on him. Okay, that's on him. Side chick has nothing to do with him beating his wife.
Come on, Nelson.
Yeah, I completely agree with Tyler. If she knew about it, if she didn't know about it, if she didn't know that the man was married with kids, that's a different ballgame. But if she knew, I'm a bit surprised that in this day and age, you'll be going out with someone, you wouldn't know the person has wife and kids. If they do have wife and kids, it's a bit difficult to agree to understand. Or you would always see something that would link you to the wife and kids. Right. So if I would blame,
married
Pardon?
men. By the way, single girls these days, they love married men.
They love
So
Of course, we
there's
know
no way
that,
to
and
put
they
them
and
back.
they would know that he's a married man.
Exactly.
Okay, Yuri, I'm gonna go to Yuri, because Yuri, I know you mentioned earlier that the side chick is not to blame because she probably didn't know. What if she knew before she went into the relationship? Do you think it would have still mattered? Would she still be to blame?
Oh, okay, see, we're talking about domestic violence here. The only issue, I want to say the only issue I have here is if the side chick knew, it doesn't warrant what the man has done to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Him beating his wife is solely on this man, solely on him. It's his responsibility. Look, we're all adults, and Nelson said something like it's not possible for married men and for you not to know. You and I know of a case of this guy that comes on every Christmas. He has a whole family back in Nigeria, and he will come and he's preparing to get married to this young lady, wanting, and he said he wasn't married until she just got hold of his phone. And the wife was calling him like, oh, dude, you said you were going for 2 weeks. When are you back? She's been in the relationship with this guy for 4 years.
Wow.
Had a proper telephone number that she can ring any time, and this dude will pick up. So some men are deceptive in their attitude, their ways, and I'm just trying to make a case here. Now, back to the question you asked. If the young lady in question knew, see, I'm a Yoruba girl, and they say the stick or the rod or the whip or whatever that we have used to beat the older wife, we're saving it for the younger wife.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the guy has done to his wife, the law will clear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If it's his behavior. That's what I said. The side chick is not the problem here. The guy is the problem, because we kick this woman out. This young, beautiful side chick comes in. She's going to piss him off. He's going to go out there and see another younger model and upgrade, and then he will beat her up. So my problem here is not the side chick. I'm talking about the animal in question. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, so do you guys have any response to that? Talia, Nelson?
In some ways, yeah. I just literally had a vision of a Nollywood scene in my head.
Okay.
Of where the side chick is actually egging the husband on to beat. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because these women, these side chicks are desperate. In their mind, they think the wife will leave for them to come and take over. They don't understand the fact that if this man has done it to his wife, he most likely, 99.9% will do it to you. So I'm just thinking of this Nollywood scene of this side chick, having spoken to the husband and saying, look, I'm done today. You need to get this woman out of your house. Beat her up. Exactly. That's a possibility as well, So, I'm not totally against the fact that the side chick was outed. I do feel like young ladies these days need to start taking responsibility on breaking homes, because it is not fair on, a young couple or an average, a middle-aged couple that are striving to keep their family together and new fresh thing from nowhere, think that you can just come and take over what two people have built.
Okay.
That's so unfair. So I really think that they need to be held accountable at some point.
Okay, Nelson, you were going to say something.
Yes. If she didn't know about it, if she didn't know that he was married with kids, then I would give it to her.
Yeah.
I would understand that because she's been deceived. That's understandable.
Okay.
But I find it difficult to believe that she didn't know, but I don't have the facts.
Well, we don't know.
Dispute it.
Okay.
We don't know. But if she knew about it, then she should get what she deserves.
There is in the, so there's also a writing, the message, one of the messages this lady sent to Gist Lover blog, and she said that the man has been doing this for a while now. So that day wasn't the first day. Unfortunately, that day happened to be caught on camera by the child. And also, she said that the man has told her to leave with the children. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't work. Where does he expect her to go? Now, what do you think in the case of domestic violence, when the man has clearly told the woman, I don't want you anymore, I don't love you anymore, take your children and go? Do you think that the lady should still remain there and be praying or be hoping that the man will change his mind? Or do you think she needs to fight for something? Do you think there's anything to be fought for? Yuri, let's hear from you.
If there's anything to fight for, it's how many years you've stayed in that marriage, not the marriage itself. You get what I'm saying? So if it's got, and I say this maybe because I live in this country where I know that people will champion and fight for my rights. The NGOs here, that not even NGOs, me and my mouth will get everything that I want. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking about Nigeria now. There are NGOs out there that should be able to support this lady to get what it has in the sense that if this guy's got assets, then this is the time we need to divvy things up because these kids need to go to school. I read the text message and I felt for her because this is a broken woman, a woman that has no finances. So she's caged there. She's literally begging and saying, well, help me out. You know, the text message, which is the one problem I had with all this, the text message to send to Gist Lover wasn't about outing just the lady, was to help her to stay in the marriage. And I'm like, really? No. You need to remove yourself from that situation, not just because of you, but the two younger girls that you are now raising, because they will begin to normalize things and think it's okay. Well, whoever I marry now, they can tempt me. So she needs to fight for what is hers, house, asset, money. Make sure there's something in place. So this, you want me out. There's no point you being in a loveless relationship. This guy clearly doesn't love you. He doesn't want you anymore. Why are you there? He will end up killing you because you are frustrating him. You are staying in his space. He has this yellow girl he wants to bring in, and you are injuring that. And I know, it's not easy. It's true.
The girl is not much prettier than his wife. I think the wife is even prettier than the girl.
I never said that, Celia. But this,
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. There's this yellow attractive thing he wants to bring in, and this girl is fresh. She's voluptuous. She needs 3-seater seat in their house to sit at. That's not a problem. See that 3-seater seat? We're going to divvy it. 1.5, I take it. You and your unripe human being you're bringing in, you lot can take the 1.5. Whatever I've worked for. You know, I want women to understand this. Just because you're a stay-at-home mom doesn't mean you're not working. You raise those kids, you clean the house, you're there emotionally, physically, emotionally. You know how many times, we're in a society where we ask women to pray for their husband, even when men, no disrespect to Nelson, you lot can drink your water and not pray. Do you know what I'm saying? So whatever that lady has put in her relationship, 17 years, 2 years, even 2 months, she needs to up and leave.
Okay.
For a supportive NGO that can help her.
Okay. I'm going to go to Nelson. Nelson, what do you think? Do you think she should go? Is it worth fighting for?
When a man begins to put his hands on his woman, there's no point the woman staying there.
Right.
But what she shouldn't do is to up and leave and then start to struggle. Whatever they've built together, if he wants them out, he should make sure he gives them what they deserve. He cannot just ask her to leave without nothing. So she has to leave because you don't, like Yuri said, you don't want to remain there. You don't want to remain there. It's so dangerous. When that happens, it can go as far as the unthinkable.
Yeah.
But what they should do is, as long as that wasn't the first time that was happening, it's going to carry on happening. Then what she should do is get a court, move out with her kids.
Right. Okay. Talia, what do you think? She should say, pray, fast?
I'm just thinking, I feel like women these days, and it's not just, I don't think it's an age thing. I think women these days generally have become so desperate that even in a bad situation, they're happy to stay. I didn't read her text message. I literally just watched the video and I was just so sick to my stomach I couldn't continue. But I'm just imagining her sending messages to say, I can imagine what the messages would have been is for people to intervene so that she can settle the marriage. But really and truly, there's nothing to settle. I'm not saying that in the future the man might not come back begging, because that's a possibility as well. He might realize himself and decide that, whoa, actually all that glitters isn't gold, and go back to his wife. But what value are you giving yourself if you're happy to stay in such an abusive relationship? And again, your daughters, you're raising 2 daughters, for God's sake. You're giving them the impression that this attitude is acceptable. It's not acceptable. There is no way. I generally don't believe that a man that disrespects his wife, especially goes as far as abuse physical abuse, there's no comeback for me. That's a done deal. It's done. Like,
so do you guys think that she's to blame in any of this?
I think she stayed too long.
Exactly.
I personally think she stayed too long. If the man was saying, hey, I need you to go, she should have got her stuff and go and left. Like, what are you waiting for? You don't need to wait for a man to degrade you before you have some dignity.
I don't agree that she's to be blamed because she was being beaten up by a man. But it could be that there were other things that happened before the beat. But for the beat, it's the man to the blame. The whole blame goes to the man. It shouldn't. Nothing that would permit a man to hit a woman.
Okay, so you know this a lot of the time when with this domestic violence issue, and when a woman comes and says, oh, you know, sometimes it could be sexual assault, it could be rape within a marriage, okay, and when the woman speaks up, when she finds the courage to speak up, sometimes people don't want to scrutinize the woman's story, okay, because of sympathy, empathy, and they feel, oh, you know, emotionally, psychologically, she's really gone through a lot. So we really don't want to start asking her a lot of questions because we don't want her to relieve that trauma. Do you think it's only fair to really ask this person a lot of questions, especially I'm talking about rape now, for example, or sexual assault within a marriage? Do you think it's fair for those that are investigating it to ask the lady questions? Because it's a big allegation. When you say you've been raped by your husband or your partner, it's a big allegation, and the man is probably going to do time. So before the man does time, do you think that every stone should be turned, every I's dotted and T's crossed? Because I just think about the Central Park 5, right? I don't know if you guys watched that Netflix series where these 5 African-American men, they were still in their teenage years, were accused of raping a white Caucasian lady in the park just because they were there. Now, if you watch the series, you will know that investigation was heavily lacking, okay? And these men spent years of their life in jail because the woman's story probably didn't add up. So what do you think in terms of things like this? Do you think the woman should be questioned regardless of the emotional trauma it might cause her?
Okay, let me answer that for you. With the series you just mentioned, what you need to take into account, the reason that lady was probably not questioned is because obviously race played a part in that. So there were 5 black boys that allegedly had raped a white woman. So obviously they were caging or shielding her. Now, in a marriage in Nigeria, and I'm not trying to be ignorant, it's very rare for anyone to accept that her husband has raped his wife. You'll be like, oh, no, that's part of what you signed up for. But it requires a specialist worker or a police officer that has in-depth work or done intervention with domestic violence people to know the line of questioning so that the woman won't feel, am I to blame here? Should I have just accepted? So when it's fresh, therapeutic work, talking therapy is what I always encourage, allows a woman to tell her story from her own standard. You know, you don't have to ask questions. You don't have to say, Celia, were you raped? Talia, were you raped? No, just talk me through what happened. When did this start? And when you give someone a therapeutic environment to talk, trust me, all that you didn't even ask for, they will tell you. So, like I said, it requires specialist work for you to know. If a woman comes to you and be like, oh, especially with the Nigerian police, he raped me. I laugh in English. They'll be like, madam, are you sure you're all right? Is that not what you're supposed to do? Immediately when you start challenging her, she withdraws. And it does not give her an opportunity to even tell you the whole story. So really and truly, it depends on the environment. The question, I can't help you if I don't know what you're going through. But if I come across as empathetic, I help you go through what you are going through. It helps me provide a springboard for you to start healing.
Okay. You get what I'm saying? Now, so let me hear from you. What do you think? Do you think women, because sometimes it could also be a setup. Do you understand? Because with that video that we saw, The child was, I'm not saying that video was a setup because it was obvious the man was beating on her, but the child was recording it. So I'm thinking to myself, how did the child know to record it? Is it possible because it's happened so many times, the mom must have told the child, when you see your daddy fighting me, record it? Or did she instigate that particular one? I don't know. These are just questions that if I was the one investigating, I would like to find out. Not that it would make any difference to what he's done. So what do you think? Should women be scrutinized? Should they be asked all these questions?
That your question, your line of questioning is brilliant. Every information that comes out, there are other informations behind them. So we mustn't come to a conclusion when, if for example, we need to prosecute someone, we mustn't come to a conclusion till we've listened to everyone involved in it, including the child that recorded everything, what led to it. But what we're discussing, I believe, is the action that happened, which was the beating up. But if we're going to go further, we need to always find out from everyone. If the domestic violence that you're talking about, the rape, we must ask those questions. Mm-hmm. How did it lead to this? The way Yuri just explained it, which is don't interrogate, but just be therapeutical. I think that's a good way to go about it. But we must hear everyone. Otherwise, we might just be taking decisions that might not be the right decisions.
Okay, Talia, what do you think?
I strongly
Being a woman
agree.
As well.
I strongly agree. I mean, I'm just thinking about even questioning the kids. You can't, with children, you can't just say, so how did, you have to be sympathetic and understand how they feel to be able to get answers from them. That's just general, a general consensus, really, especially when, it's a very touchy subject. Even with domestic violence, it's a touchy subject. Nobody wants to admit that, oh, my husband beat me up. It's frowned upon, especially in our society.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's embarrassing. In our society, as a Nigerian, I think it's probably the norm for them because a lot of them kind of accept it. But in terms of the rape, that's even a bigger embarrassment to have to admit that, your husband raped you. How did it lead to that? What happened? You're definitely not singing from the same hymn sheet if he has to force you, so what's going on? It's a good idea to definitely go the therapeutic approach. There's no other way that you would get a Nigerian woman to open up without at least understanding her point of view.
Okay. Thank you, Talia, for that. Anyway, so obviously I think we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. What the man did was wrong. He shouldn't be beating on his wife like that, regardless of who he's met out there. Maybe he's met another man or this. Okay, it doesn't.
Who knows?
Who knows? It doesn't.
Whatever floats his boats.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't.
Exactly.
His behavior. And something that keeps playing in my mind is, I mentioned it in the beginning. Is it because the woman has 2 children and this side chick is now about to have a boy? I don't know. But I'm sure in Nigeria or in other African countries, men still have that mentality that.
Oh yeah, Nigerians definitely.
Even though people say, no, things have evolved. Yes, I know things have evolved, but there's still that sort of mindset, even though it isn't right, because a child is a child, no matter their sex. Also, obviously, we're doing this domestic violence. We're doing this domestic violence series now with the lockdown. Next week, Saturday, okay, we will be having Victoria Yama on the show, okay? So for those of you who know Victoria Yama, she's a Nollywood actress, one of the foundation of Nollywood. But now, she has other things like, again, she's a support advocate for women who've gone through domestic violence or fleeing domestic violence. And also she's a mental health well-being advocate as well. So yeah, she'll be here next week, Saturday. But I think at the end of the day, everybody needs to take responsibility for their action. The side chick has to take some responsibility, whether she knew or not. I don't believe that she entirely didn't know. I think she may have, let's assume she didn't know at some point, but I think she might have found out at some point. If she didn't know in the beginning, she may have found out at some point, and maybe it was too late because she was already pregnant. And again, for her, she might just be feeling, God has answered my prayers, okay? Yeah, she might be feeling that God has answered the prayers. Yeah, because unfortunately, people will start quoting Bible and say God works in mysterious ways, you know.
Well, he does work in mysterious ways, but she's gonna get thumped at some point.
Well, so I mean, I don't know what's happening to her now, but the woman in question, okay, so when Gist Lover put this this video out, and she wrote what she wrote, and she was asking for lawyers, police officers, anyone, NGOs who can help this woman and her children, and she put the lady's address. So it'll be good for you guys to know that this woman is safe, okay? She's been removed from the home with her children. She's safe and she's fine, okay? And the man in question has gone into hiding. I don't know if at this point he's been caught, but I read something on her page. Apparently he was hiding under a table in the family home when the police went to arrest him, okay? So I don't know what's happened. Yeah, I know, right? So I don't know whether he's in police custody yet or not, but I'm hoping that when any man watches this video, okay, and if you're a woman beater, you would think again before you raise up your hand. You might not be seen at the moment, or you know, you might think nobody's seeing what you're doing, but it will catch up with you at some point, okay? And just think about the fact that you could hit her, and she hits her head, and that's the end. She dies. Then what? What do you do? And the children are there as well. So you always need to think about your children. No child needs to see his or her mom beating the dad or vice versa, because let's not forget, domestic violence can also be from the woman to the man, okay? Yeah. Even though it's the woman's one that's more predominant. But anyway, on that note, we're going to leave it here. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you, Talia and Nelson and Yuri, as usual. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me.
So until next time, we'll see you next week, Saturday, with Victoria Iyama. All right? See you later, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.